Hey up YouTube, I'm Eric, thank you for clicking on the video, and we are back again with everything you missed, a real one this time. This of course is for the first comeback of our lovely ladies of Loossemble with their music video for Girls Night, which was also written by Heju. Proud of our baby wolf for getting credit for the title track, but let's dive into the music video and see what we can find. Now if you do end up liking the video, please do leave a like, it really does help support the channel and makes it easier for other viewers to find too. Your support on these videos really means a lot. That being said, if you like what I do here and you want to see more videos like this in the future, consider hitting that subscribe button. But let's begin this breakdown of the music video for Loosemble's Girls Night. Right out the gate, we're greeted with a flipped view of Earth with the Loossemble spacecraft picking up nearly exactly where we left off of from the Sensitive music video. What the duck is that? We have some sort of invasion force in the form of these triangular ships, unleashing these smaller ships. It also appears that there are multiple of these triangle ships. We can see the one in front of us, but there are also these smaller ships flying in from this direction. This is Vivi with a type of camcorder. And there is our first shot of all returning members from left to right: Hyunjin, Vivi, Heju, Yeojin, and Gowon. Now we have Hyunjin and Yeojin playing with some cherries. Interesting. Cherries are quite symbolic with LOONA. Apart from being cherries' symbolic fruit, they play a pretty major role in the LOONAverse. Since being introduced in Love Cherry Motion, cherries have been used by the members of Odd Eye Circle to help some of the other members of LOONA. An example would be Jinso placing a special cherry on a cake for Cherry to eat, to be teleported away from our friends Hasa and Oh. More on this later. But Cherry gets teleported away, goes off on an adventure, and eventually comes across the other members of Odd Eye Circle. This inevitably sets off the chain of events that leads to Cherry assisting Gowon's escape from Eden. Now we have Hyunjin and Gowon together. They are their reversed order member, which could hint at the cinema theory clip with Chu, Gowon, Hyunjin, and a cat.
Let's make a night for us. You gotta see the light.
Now we have Yeojin sitting poolside waving to Vivi, who is up on a balcony. Going back to Love Cherry Motion, we actually see Yeojin playing in a pool. Here we have the members playing with a stuffed animal, but if we look at what's in front of them, we see Jenga blocks, which was one of the games Hasa, Yeojin, and Cherry were playing with in Love Cherry Motion. Quite a lot of things are coming from there. Also a box that says surprise and a purple moon-shaped balloon. Interesting. Here we have Heju, and we can see that plate of cherries that we had from earlier. Now we have Gowon just sitting alone in a room with a rotary phone. Here we have Vivi, but behind her we see a silhouette of one of the invading drones. Ducks. That is all. Just a little fun thing to add. Heju's shirt in the Sensitive music video had a duck on it. Here we have Yeojin and Gowon driving around in a Jeep.
What says classy more than unzipping your window? Jeep.
And they're being chased by drones. Here we have Hyunjin with a Dodge Challenger being surrounded by the invasion drones. Here we have Yeojin, and we can actually see a couple of her tattoos. Yeojin double wink. Now in a choreo, we see their outfits, and we can see that Hyunjin and Heju have the same shirt, but in different styles. Interesting as well, because amongst orbits, Hyunjin and Heju were part of the triplets with Cherry, because they all look similar to each other. Also, Hyunjin's pants says, "Who decides war?" And they cost $625. I got you, Yojin. I see that wink. Ooh, the little punch after saying fight. Hey, don't point at me. Now we have Hyunjin by a telephone pole that has a type of US backpack on it with a lighthouse in the background. Ooh, now we have Go On walking in this place where, judging by the general architecture of the room and comparing to the ones in the sensitive music video, I would imagine this to be one of the rooms inside the Loossemble spacecraft. Also, the thing behind Go On looks like a type of clock, which would be at 12, or perhaps midnight. 12, of course, being references to the 12 members of LOONA. Midnight, on the other hand, could be a couple of things. It could be referring to the Midnight Festival as we've seen in the Why Not music video, but also seeing that 12 Midnight could be referring to a couple of other music videos. Of course, Why Not was part of the Midnight album, we had Flip That, and of course, Sensitive. Now we have Haeju standing in front of what looks like some type of gate. Now we have Vivi with a hand, gun, but also what looks like a cross on her cheek. Crosses, of course, are being related to the Bible, which the Looniverse often takes inspiration from, especially for YY by Y. Now we have Yojin walking from, I'm just going to call it the gate, with smoke now filling the room. Remember this. Now we have Hyunjin and Vivi on a payphone. With Hyunjin, we knew she was by a payphone, but for Vivi, it looks like she is on the phone by the pink lighthouse we saw from earlier that was behind Hyunjin. Now we have Haeju, and as I pointed out in my initial reaction to the music video, I remember that in PTT, Haeju also had a slash on the bridge of her nose. We also see now in the Girls' Night music video that she also has an eyebrow slit. I also mentioned in my reaction that this scene was awfully reminiscent of Kim Lip's scenes from the Not Friends music video. What's also interesting is that the color pattern on her helmet is similar to the color pattern on the car that circles her in the Why Not music video, which had a decal of a wolf on it, which the wolf is Haeju's symbolic animal. And there's Go On's little punch. There's a Haeju wink. Now we have a case of a classic Haeju throws a thing and then the thing catches fire, as we've seen in the So What music video. In comes one of the drones, and Go On wakes up. The drone seemingly scans her, and now we get to see what these drones really look like. We have this drone, which I've stated looks like an eye. You even have what I think looks like the iris, pupil, and sclera. If it's not an eye, then I would say it looks something similar to what a black hole looks like. You have that singularity in the middle, the event horizons, and even the ergosphere. This could play into the black hole theory, which they could have altered to, instead of using the physical sun of the solar system forming that black hole destroying the world, it would be a metaphorical one in the shape of these things. Hey yo! go on whipping out the powers of the universe like Odd-Eye Circle and Air Force One. And it's almost the exact same way as Odd-Eye Circle did with that truck. Now these fireworks are actually all the drones exploding. And this thing is the moon, by the way. Here are some of the members walking, but you can see that one is not here. Foreshadowing. Here's that Jenga tower from earlier, but now it's being used. Now these blocks actually have numbers on them. I can make out 16, 30, 31, 39, 25, 10, 35, 33, 46, and 33. Nothing significant with these, just that I pointed out. And it looks like Yeojin destroyed the tower with this stuffed animal. Hyunjin and Yeojin wink. Here we have this shot with all members here at this table with many desserts, similar to how in Artemis's birth music video, there was Hasa sitting alone at the table that was set for 5. Also, a fuzzy lamp. I'm pretty sure that's a fire hazard. Yeojin wink. Hyunjin wink, I think. Ooh, they're actually doing it. They have a dedicated story segment again. Let's go. Here we are back at the gate, and we can tell from the other shots from earlier that this shot with Vivi is her standing in front of the gate. Now we have Yeojin by the pool again, reading a book called The Lady and the Chocolate by Edward Monckton, waving up at Vivi. Yeojin gets up as she sees something in the distance. Now I'll just let the rest of the music video play, and we'll discuss what I think happened afterwards. What the heck? My fellow Orbits, we have just witnessed the start of Vivi's villain arc. I'm kidding. Kinda. But let's break this sequence down. We cut to the members of Loossemble in the rain, calling out to Yeojin and Vivi in particular, looking worried. Then we cut to Hyunjin and Vivi hanging up their payphones we saw from earlier. Ducks. A bunch of the shots of just Yeojin, and in the background you can hear the members calling for Yeojin. More shots of the members in the rain calling out for Yeojin. This shot is of Vivi at the gate. Yeojin and Vivi turn to the sky, and through the clouds they see one of the invasion ships flying in. As Vivi turns back, she witnesses Yeojin being vaporized and the book falling. We then cut back to Vivi at the gate with a tear in her eye. This would probably be her remembering what happened to Yeojin. Then we get a flash of the Ouroboros, or the symbol that represents the eternal cycle of destruction and rebirth. Eternal cycle. Infinite loop. The Mobius strip. Immediately after we see the Ouroboros flash, Vivi's eyes change to red, and she leaves, and that's where the music video ends. What is going on with this music video? It's clear that an invasion is happening on this flipped Earth, and that Yeojin was one of the casualties in it. But it seems like there's another story at play here, and it plays with that Ouroboros idea: destruction and rebirth. and it all seems to revolve around the gate. We saw Yeojin being vaporized, presumably by that triangle shape, but what was also shown was after that. We have the remaining 4 members looking for Yeojin in the rain. After that, I imagine the remaining members looking for the gate, as we saw with Gohan, Haeju, and now Vivi. I suspect that this gate is what brings Yeojin back, because aside from Gohan, Haeju, and Vivi, Yeojin was also one that was near that gate. What's more is that she was walking away from it, with smoke around the ground. The scenes with Gohan, Haeju, and Vivi didn't have smoke, and they were all walking towards the gate. So that's what leads me to believe that the members used the gate to somehow bring Yeojin back. Knowing all this, let's try to structure this music video chronologically. The invasion happens. The members find themselves and are having fun together, having a party. Vivi is there filming with the camcorder. Yeojin is by the pool reading. Hyunjin and Gohan are over there. And Haeju is somewhere else. In comes the invading ships that we see at the end, and Yeojin getting vaporized. Vivi witnesses this and tells the other members. They go out into the rain to look for Yeojin, to no avail. So they move globally. And that's why we have Hyunjin, Gohan, and Vivi using those phones in various places. They would be using these phones to call in and check in on each other, but eventually they come across the gate. Vivi sees it, goes red, and somehow uses that to bring Yeojin back. Out of wherever that gate is, they get chased by the drones. Eventually, Gohan has a dream where she could destroy the drones, and that would become reality. And what better way than to end this story of this music video with a bang of fireworks or drones exploding. Everyone's alive, we're all happy, they're all together. Right? Right? But yeah, that was my full analysis for Loossemble's Girls' Night music video. I had to say, what an experience. The song is so good, the members look phenomenal, and they did story building again with the members doing stuff. I've said it before, but I love it when on top of just a visually stunning music video, they're making something so unique and interesting to watch for outsiders. So honestly, shout out to CTD for keeping this quality at Loossemble's projects high, even into this comeback. Like just to mention, we had the concert documentary and Loossemble Assemble. They are throwing money into these projects. Like, it's really commendable. But if I missed anything, do let me know in the comments. I'm sure the more times I watch the music video, I'm going to realize more and more of what can connect or have connections I don't realize now. So if you do want to be here for when I do realize those things, hit the subscribe button. And if you like the video, drop a like. It really does help support the channel and allows other theorists to find the video too. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.